Conference tournament week has been absolutely insane across all conferences. It's been an absolute blast to be able to watch games from essentially 11 a.m. until past when I should be in bed. It's currently 12:54 here on the East Coast, and we have the WAC tournament final going on between Utah Valley and Cal Baptist. Still, games are going on. It's been a blast. I've barely slept, I feel like, but I've been thriving off the energy that these games bring me. I've been busy and I've still watched them. I've been probably watching too much at times. I've tried to celebrate a friend, shout out Jeremy, and then we're out there at the simulator or whatever, and there's incredible games on. Iowa State and in freaking Arizona was one of the best games in history. It was unbelievable. The whole week was just outrageous. From going to lunch on Wednesday watching basketball throughout the entire week, it delivered. It delivered in the fullest form. So now I haven't had a chance to get on here. I was planning to be able to get on like every day, every other day, something like that, but things came up, things were happening. Now I'm here. It's essentially over. Like, unless you're Seth Davis, the games don't really matter on Sunday anyways. We kind of have an idea of where we're getting. Like, we know Michigan's a favorite. We know that Arkansas is an underdog to Vandy. Like, we kind of know where we're at here. So I'm just going to run through. I'm going to take a glance at these schedules and the bracket of what these conference tournaments looked like, and I'm just going to kind of yap. That's all this is. I'm just going to kind of yap and talk about some things that we may have learned from conference play and all these beautiful conference tournaments that we got this week. Because I saw somebody tweet this, and I was literally thinking it, and it's one of those weird things where you're like, all right, maybe my phone just reads my mind, and now I'm in this weird spot where I'm like, all right, I might just throw the phone in the ocean and go flip phone for the rest of my life. But so I was sitting here, and I was like, is Friday of conference tournament week the greatest feast week and tournament day? Is Friday a top 5 college basketball day of the year? That's kind of what I was thinking. I was like, is this because you just sit there all day and it's elite game after elite game, and in the scheduling of it is what makes it so beautiful. That's what really does it, because I'm a huge fan of the standalones. Those aren't really necessarily standalones, but it's you get banger at this time, and then it kind of rotates into this one at this time, and you're just overwhelmed with amazing hoops. It's been incredible. So now it's past. I mean, it's technically Sunday morning now. It's 12:57. It's actually Selection Sunday. So happy Selection Sunday to you if you're tuning in. I will have a video reacting to the bracket a little bit and just looking at it, maybe doing picks. I'm not real sure what I'm going to do, but it's just an overwhelming amount of excitement. So I'm just going to talk about some games. Really no order to it at all. Just going to be honest. But I do want to mention, I'll just mention these first, just to get them out of the way, because they need love, and I don't want to get caught up in all these big conference stuff and miss all these. So, one amazing game that happened tonight was, I don't know if I'm pointing it in the right direction, but here, the Akron Zips. The Akron Zips end up beating Toledo in the MAC championship final, so that means 2-bid MAC, which is extremely, extremely exciting. Shama Scott, 33 minutes off the bench, but he has 12 points. But the third, he hit 2 threes. I was about to say the third three. His just 10th, 11th, 12th point. We'll just put it that way. Sidestep 3 from the wing with about, not even doing it for the meme, 6-7 seconds left. Unbelievable. Absolutely unbelievable shot. That's what you live for. That's what this college basketball thing is about. You've got all these good games on. That was during the ACC championship, where you've got elite ball on, and then you've got this one coming down to the wire. And honestly, Toledo grabbed so many late rebounds. I was like, well, dang, dude, Akron's gonna get left out and snubbed, and Akron feels even, which is crazy to say, Akron feels like they're even more of a threat to these big dogs than Miami is, even though Miami was undefeated regular season and all this stuff. Akron gets out and finishes 17-1 in conference play and wins the MAC. Incredible job by Mr. Gross. And that team, that game was a blast. It was just cinema. That's exactly what you want on the MAC championship. What an awesome game. And then Anthony Grant over at Dayton. They beat St. Louis in one of the wildest finishes I can imagine. Like, there was like a missed shot, a blocked crazy shot off the backboard, and then you'd have like Robbie hitting a three on one end, and then you'd have there was like another three, and then there's like a layup, and then there's like a tried attempt at like a layup contest layup, and then that one gets tipped in, and then there's just players running on the court, which should be a technical, but it wasn't, and like I'm glad it wasn't because it just gave us one of these finishes. But now it's kind of weird because then you got shirts saying that like maybe there's supposed to be a technical, whatever. Doesn't matter. It was amazing. Dayton wins 70-69, and now will play in the A10 championship against VCU tomorrow at 1. It's actually 12 hours from this exact moment. Elite ball on tomorrow. Yeah, so those two I just wanted to get on here like, first and just get those talked about because they need the love. Like, those games were incredible. Absolutely incredible. Now I'm just going to go, I guess I'll just talk Big East for a second. There wasn't a whole lot of like, it was a lot of, the Big East wasn't great this year. Like we all know that. It was pretty just basic the whole way through this, except Georgetown beat Villanova in an awesome game. So that was pretty cool. I'll put it that way. Other than that, the games weren't super close. Like the Xavier Marquette game was fun. But other than that, like they weren't super close. So then you get to where you have the semifinals and the two teams that are above the conference where you think there's a chance they get tested. They don't. And they both win comfortably. Then you get to the championship. UConn and St. John's round 3. They split regular season. And now here you are, and St. John's is just a wagon. They win by 20. Never even close, really. I don't think St. John's trailed for a single second in the entire Big East tournament. Awesome game. Awesome game. There was a push by UConn. That's why I say it was an awesome game. There was a push by UConn where it was like, well, maybe. Like, I think they cut it to like maybe 9 at some point in the second half. But then they just kind of shut it up, and a lot of it was due to Zuby Ejiofor. He's one of the stories that you just got to love in this sport, sticking around, playing for Ricky P. And now he's going out here in the Big East Championship with 18 points, 9 rebounds, 3 steals, 7 blocks. What a ball game. And St. John's just continues to... I know UConn's had their struggles on offense against a lot of teams, but they completely shut down this UConn team. At times in the second half, Terrace Reed it felt like it was getting to the point where I was like, what did they say to this man at halftime? Because it felt like he was going to just take over the game and just wheel them to a victory. That was not the case. UConn's just kind of weird, and it's obviously the worst time to be in this spot because of all the circumstances right now. And honestly, by the time this game tipped off, Florida had already lost their game, so I was like, maybe UConn can kind of backdoor their way into getting a 1 seed. Like, Florida got rolled. UConn could figure out a way, and then they just get rolled. So, didn't end up mattering in the long run. But UConn, I'm just early in the year, I was like, well, dang, dude, Hurley's just going to get him another, isn't he? And they are far from that. Very, very far from that. They are sitting at 29-5 now. And there's not one part of me that thinks that they're going to make a run. I just don't see it at all. So I would be stunned if they were to make any sort of run. They just don't have the guards that they once did. That you always would be like, all right, yeah, they have this guy that can just go get one, this guy that can just go get one. They just don't really have that. And I was really hoping that was kind of going to be solo ball in a way, not necessarily in a ball handling way, but like he's going to hit these shots, and he can also beat you off the dribble a little bit if you try to sell out on threes and stuff, and then it just hasn't been that way. So they'll be able to sit down and guard people, but even getting out of the first weekend now doesn't seem just necessarily like a layup. They've just trended the wrong direction this entire run as of late. So not great. And St. John's just rolls. And I think the stat was like it was a video that Fanta put out that this is the first time in Big East history that one team has gone back-to-back regular season and back-to-back conference tournament titles. which is crazy. But I mean, it only makes sense that Rick Pitino is the one to get that done. So, what an awesome run by the Johnnies. We'll put it that way. I'm very excited to see what they do in the tournament because they've won 19 of 20 games. Like, if you just look at like their winning streak right here, it's just like it's absolutely goofy. It literally, they lost to Providence on, what day was this? What's the January 3rd? They lost Providence on January 3rd. They've lost one game since then, and yes, it's the weird UConn game, and those things happen. I guess they don't necessarily happen, but you get the point. And I know it's not been a great Big East, but like, sheesh, dude. Like, just dominating all of those games. It's crazy. It is absolutely crazy to me. Yeah, what a year. What a year for the Johnnies, and they are looking terrifying going into the tournament. We'll go SEC tournament. I'll just put this as a blanket statement. And if I'm wrong, tell me I'm an idiot. Whatever you want to do. Florida's not winning the national championship. Like, I've heard all this talk, and this is coming from a Kentucky fan, and it's not in like a salty way. Or like, I think it'd be cool. Florida goes back to back twice. Like, that'd be really cool. It'd be a cool story. Florida's not winning the championship. They just have too much of like the guards. So here's the thing. So Florida, this is what I've just noticed when we've played them. We've played them 3 times within like a month now. And for Kentucky, it'll be something, Kentucky will try to get something in a short roll, and then they'll just get their hands tipped on it. That's what they've done all year. Yes, they have length, but they've basically picked on an SEC that doesn't necessarily show a ton of length. That's why I'm stunned by the Vandy outcome today, where Vandy just dominates them start to finish, never even close. That's why I'm stunned by that one, because the way that they picked on the SEC all year, like, teams, if they have bigs, then they have just like one, and then it gets gas. So they have 3 legit centers, which is a credit to them. Micah Hanlockton also against Kentucky in that game was incredible, I thought. Still a dirty hip check on the one with Cam Williams, but he was great in it too. So they essentially have 4 very, very capable bigs, 3 that are elite, and some of the top in the country at what they do. The problem with that is, like, just go through all of the teams in the conference, and you're like, okay, well, maybe there's just not good bigs. That's why I think they've been on this insane tear. They will not win the national championship. Florida's not going to win the national championship. I will be absolutely flabbergasted if they did that. They're not going to. In this game, it's not just the Vandy game. I was saying this before the Vandy game. While they were on their crazy streak, I was saying that. Yes, they're on this crazy run, whatever. And if you're a Florida fan, I think the thing you could, like, spin this and do a little spins on, whatever, like, you kind of needed the loss before. You've been on this crazy run. I think you had lost, I think that just the January 3rd was the loss, right? They lost to like Auburn January 3rd, or did they lose one since? I'm trying to remember. Yeah, they hadn't lost since January 3rd. So it's just like, they had one loss since January 3rd, which was Missouri. They lost January 24th to Auburn, which still makes absolutely 0 sense. But it's not lying, and it's not hiding something, and it's not against the majority to say the SEC wasn't great this year. Like, I will be absolutely stunned if Florida did it. Like, I love those Florida guards. I really do. Just as dudes, they've been fun to watch. I mean, enjoying Xavier Lee at Princeton was a ton of fun. They just don't have enough. Like, if Urban Clapshar leads them to a tournament, I think that's the only way, to a championship, I think that's the only way that they can get it done. That feels like the only way that it could get done, and he had 5 off the bench tonight. Like, Xavier Lee, 2 for 8. Boogie Flane, 5 for 9. Like, he'll get to like 13, 14, 15 points, but he doesn't do it efficiently. That's the problem. And he was just not good. He was not good. Tommy Houck is the only one that I was like, all season I was like, yeah, he's kind of the guy, the engine that makes the thing turn. I don't know what the rest of these guys, like, they don't bring enough. Like, Isaiah Brown's been good in recent stretches, but is he going to be the difference? Like, that was the thing last year, was they had the best closer in the game with Walter Clayton. They had Will Richard and Elijah Martin, and then off the bench they had Denzel Aberdeen. That's a ridiculous guard lineup. Guards win in March, and these guards are not going to cut it. I love them. They're not going to cut it. and I would love to be proven wrong. That would be cool. But 14 turnovers today, it's just not great. Condon had 5. And, yeah, it's not going to cut it. So, to flip it, though, I'll go on the Vandy side of things. The reason Vandy won this game is exactly why I think if you're a Vandy fan, you should be extremely optimistic going into the tournament. Like, the way that you won it is not the way that you win games, which is like confusing. But like, this isn't like the worst matchup imaginable for this team. Like, huge lineup, bigs. Like, they don't play like anybody that's like 7 foot, and they're basically playing 3 7-footers, if not 4 if Mike is in there. But they have maybe the best backcourt in the country, and I'm not saying that like it's a certain thing, but if you look at across the country, they're up there. And when Tyler Tanner and Duke Miles are healthy, like, that duo right there is absolutely unbelievable. Like, I remember seeing it early in the game where it said they had scored or assisted on every single point in the game so far. That duo is crazy. They are absolutely insane. And then the good thing about this one, which I think this kind of reminds me of how the Kentucky game went when Kentucky got drummed by 25 in Nashville, the bigs were hitting threes. When the bigs are hitting threes and you have to step out and respect it, you're cooked. You are absolutely cooked. Okereke hit 3. McLaughlin hit 3. It was unbelievable. If they're hitting threes, they're unguardable because they have the speed and the ability to be able to just get out and fly. So if they're shooting 48% from 3 as a team, you don't have a chance. You're done. So good on Vandy, man. It was a great win for them, and one of those that I think probably gets you all the way like optimistic going into this. Like, you're kind of in the boat of like, well, I mean, if we can do it with them, it's the hottest team in America. It was like statistically like the hottest team since the new year, and here they are, stunning them and winning, basically leading by 20 the entire game. It was crazy. So good win for Vandy. Florida, they're gonna get to like Elite 8 by default. That's gonna happen. I think I would be stunned if Florida gets knocked out before the Elite 8. But I'm just saying, when they play another one of those, like, I don't know, top 12 seeds, I could see them drop the game to any of them. It's not like they're just, like, invincible to me. That's where I stand with them. Let's see. Is there anything else in the SEC that kind of stood out? There were the whole tournament was awesome. Ole Miss, what an incredible run. They dropped the game to Arkansas tonight. In overtime. 93-90, and it was a tough one. But they had the run. They beat Alabama by 1. They beat Georgia by 4. They beat Texas by 10. Great run. Oklahoma had their run cut short. They also lost to Arkansas. Arkansas has just been ruining these teams' chances, but they're also saving people that are kind of on the bubble because they're knocking out bid stealers. But it was cool to see some of these teams make these pushes, and Oklahoma's been one of those teams that's just been hot as of late, and I think that's why they decided to bring Porter Moser back next year. But they won a couple, and they dominated in both of them. And but unfortunately, I don't think they're going to make it. I don't think Ole Miss is going to make it either. They didn't do enough in the regular season. But they made the run, and credit them on not giving up, but not going to be good enough. And Arkansas and Vandy play tomorrow, which they already played. And Vandy went to Fayetteville, and I'm pretty sure got drummed, if I remember the outcome correct. Yes, by, 25? Yeah, 93-68. Not great. That was the third straight loss after they had started a long undefeated streak. But I'm very excited about it because it's going to be an elite backcourt game. That's going to be the thing. Like, the guard play is going to be incredible. But more on Arkansas. So they played an amazing game with Ole Miss today. And Malik Thomas, Darius Acuff, they had like a historic day. Like, Darius Acuff, he didn't even have a good game for the most part, which speaks to how good he is. Not even a good game, 24 points, 5 rebounds, 7 assists. Yeah, that's his bad games. Malik Thomas at 29 points, though. That's the story. Like, I saw Ryan Hammer put something about it being like Mox and Funk. Monk and Fox. That's bad. But Malik Thomas and Darius Acuff, I don't think they're on that level, but I think when in like in any given scenario, in any given game scenario, like there's a chance that it could happen. And there's nothing you can do. When they're rolling, they're rolling. Like you just can't. Like Darius Acuff's gonna bring in every game. It's mainly Malik Thomas, but with them only playing 7 dudes, it's a problem. And that was what my problem always with Cal was at UK, because I was like, I mean, especially in the NIL era, like, bro, just tell John Tyson, just drop a couple dollars more. Go get you an 8th man and a 9th man and get some more depth, because you're going to need dudes. I don't know if it's just like go get a shooter or something, but like these 7 are not going to cut it. Like this team's not making a crazy run because Darius Acuff is still human, believe it or not. Like I know he pumps these games out like it's nothing. Like he played 40 minutes tonight, he's going to be gassed. And we'll see how he plays tomorrow. But it seems like there's just not enough depth on the team. So AJ Storr, on the other hand, had 24, did all that he could, and went out with a bang. His last year at what was it, the 4 different schools, and then it was like 4 different high schools, whatever. But credit to him. I mean, he balled out. He was doing all he could to keep the team in it, and so that one was a lot of fun today. I think that's it for. Yeah, I think that's it for the SEC tournament. Big Ten tournament on that side of things. Wisconsin. I'll just talk about them. Wisconsin gave us a lot of fun, to say the least. They beat Washington in a thriller, where Washington made a push late. They beat Illinois in overtime. That was a blast, and then went toe-to-toe with Michigan. Now, on the other side of things with Michigan, it's kind of like, all right, well, are they what we thought they were? Because now, if you look at their last few games, they beat Wisconsin 68-65. They beat Ohio State 71-67. They beat Michigan State. That game was closer than what it looks. And then they won at Iowa by 3. So now, 3 of their last 4 games, they've only won by 4 or less. It's kind of scary. The LJ Cason injury might be more than what I was expecting. Does that mean they're not a national title contender? No. They 1,000% could win the national championship. But I think it limits what the mistakes can be, I would say. Like, the minutes where Elliot Cadeau is not in there, it just looks a lot sloppier. Like, Trey McKinney, I love. He's not like a ball-dominant, commanding guard that can just run the show when Elliot Cadeau is not on the floor. And the thing that worries me is, like, if Elliot Cadeau has one bad game, like, he's still human. He's going to have one bad game that's going to pop up, and that's going to be the end of the season. That's what it feels like to me. So, yes, they have the best front court probably in America. It's them, Florida, whatever. But it's just they don't look as. I thought they were gonna look kind of flawless still, like without LJ Cason. Maybe I was wrong. I mean, I think he was the best shooter on the team, and losing him was huge. So that really sucks. But defensively, they're just gonna be able to figure things out. That's the good thing about Michigan, like the length and athleticism and defensive IQ that all these guys have. Like, they're gonna win some games just off of defense alone. So they're another team that I'm like, I don't see a world where they lose before like the Elite Eight. I can't see it. On the other side, Austin Rapp, what an absolute run. I don't remember how many he hit like in a row, but it felt like they just like every possession was like, all right, where's he at? Where's he at? All right, logo 3. Like, it was just like anything you throw up is going to go in. So also I guess credit to Michigan for just surviving against that. I guess you could just say like bullcrap, because I mean, he went 6 for 10 from 3. That was crazy. Austin Rapp, though, credit to you, dude. Like, that was awesome. That was really, really cool to watch. Just seeing him go crazy as a big and just drill all those threes. But the story of Wisconsin is the guards. Like, it's not shocking at any point that these dudes score 30 plus. Like, that's what's wild to me. Like 35 plus, whatever it is. Like, they had 13 and 14 in this one, but. Like, John Blackwell in the last few games has been unbelievable. Like, he had 31 in the last game, 34 in the game prior, 25 in the game prior to that. Like, he's been on a tear. And then his counterpart, Nick Boyd, in his last few, he had 38, 23, 23. He's had a couple 30 balls, and like he's been unbelievable too. Like, that duo right there is just, man, just different. And it's crazy, like, because without Winter, I was a little worried, but those guys step up so much that it's like when you say guards win in March, you're kind of like, all right, well, I mean, they might have the best duo in the country. I know I talked about Tyler Tanner and Duke Miles being one of the best in the country, but these might be just because they can just score at any pace, at any style of play, they can do it. And so they've been absolutely incredible and a ton of fun to watch. In the Big Ten, I'm trying to think of anything else. UCLA, great run. Donovan Dent was incredible and then got hurt against Purdue. And Purdue made a run. So now it's Michigan and Purdue tomorrow, which is going to be a lot of fun. But Purdue, good run here. I mean, this is exactly what you wanted to see, beating Northwestern, Nebraska, and UCLA to be able to get there. Now, those aren't like the highest quality wins in the world, but it's still making a run. And it's honestly what you're seeing on the defensive side of things, because they held Northwestern to 68, Nebraska to 58, and UCLA to 66. So they're not allowing the 90-plus point outings or whatever. Like they're not allowing that anymore. So that's very, very like key, I would say. That's what gives me hope that this team can make that type of run. And so it's gonna be awesome to see what they can do, because they're gonna be one of the biggest stories. Because it's like going into the season, you're like, all right, it's in Indianapolis, like Purdue's preseason number one. Yes, in the preseason, we probably did think Michigan and Purdue was probably going to be the matchup in the championship for the Big Ten. Not in this way. Not a 7-seed Purdue. But it doesn't matter what happened in the regular season at this point. All that's behind you. You are a new version, and you've got all that you tried to accomplish ahead of you. I know they wanted to probably go undefeated regular season and win the Big Ten and all this different stuff. Didn't happen. Sucks. Can't affect it. Can't do anything about it now. Go win the thing. So, would it shock me if they made the Final Four? No, not at all. Just based off this defense and the defensive showing throughout the tournament. And yeah, I don't remember what the stat. I saw John Rothstein tweet it today, but Purdue's like, I don't even know what it was, like 15-3 or something when Oscar Clough scores double digits. He had 17 in this one. Yeah, I think it's 15-3. I'm glancing at his numbers. Yeah, I think that's just like those bigs just have to bring it. And the story of Purdue is just like, if Fletcher Loyer plays well, they win. That's it. And he played well through this tournament. So he had 14, 19, and 14. So if he plays well against Michigan, they might just get their lick back and beat Michigan. So that would be a lot of fun. I can't wait for that game. But good win over UCLA, and get well soon, Donovan Dent. We are all praying for you. In the Big Ten, let's see. These were just fun because it was like it felt like was going on until 2 a.m. for me. It was like awesome to watch these games. I guess that's it Ohio State made a push at Michigan. That was fun. They won that game against Iowa, which I feel like locked them in. It felt like they were still on the right side of the bubble, but weren't all the way 1,000,000% in, but they definitely are now. And then I think that's it for the Big Ten. Nothing else super notable unless I'm blanking. On to the Big 12. Now, this one was in the news, what was that, Friday night, I think, yeah, right? I don't know. Thursday night? Beats me. Whatever night it was, the glass court didn't last. Christian Anderson got hurt on it, which thankfully he will be back for March Madness. But it was a failed product. It was like, all right, I don't know how, like, Kentucky used it for Big Blue Madness. The NBA used it for All-Star Weekend or something. Like, it's not meant for playing games on. Like, unless they figure out something else to where it can all be like one big piece. I don't know how the heck you're supposed to, like, do this. It just doesn't. And it's not the right texture. Like, I don't know. It was cool. And seeing AJ Demancia drop 500,000 points and the glass shattering or whatever on the court when he would dunk, that was pretty cool. But at the same time, it's just kind of like, all right, man, let's just play on the hardwood the way hoops was intended. So, nonetheless, though, this was an awesome tournament, an awesome tournament. BYU did all that they could and gave Houston a battle for a little bit, but Houston ultimately knocked them out. The 10 seed BYU, which is crazy to say. Kansas, they survived TCU once again. That was a really, really fun game. Arizona just kind of rolled everybody they played. That was kind of the story there. But neutral court, Iowa State. I saw Ryan Hammer tweet this too. Shout out to him. Where they beat Arizona State by, I think it was 512 was the difference in that one. And then they beat Texas Tech by 22. But then the Cyclones end up falling in one of the best games that I've ever watched. Like that game was so awesome. Iowa State and Arizona. Milan was just a flamethrower in that one. Del Orso was awesome in that one. Like it was just, that was one of them that I was saying. I was at the golf simulator, and you're just watching Anthony Del Orso and Milan Momcilovic go band for band. It was sick. It was so awesome. So that was a lot of fun. But Big 12 tournament was awesome. I mean, it was. I think on the backboards it says like a different league or something, and you know, they do. I mean, they went all in on when everybody did those conference realignment and stuff, and everybody went towards football. They went towards basketball, and this is even more than what I thought it would be. Like I haven't put it out yet, but my first team All-American list has 3 Big 12 players. That's how good this conference was this year. Like there's so many teams in this conference that you like. Would it shock you that they made a run? No, it would not shock you. Like they all these teams could make far runs. It could be like a 3 Big 12 team Final Four, and it would not shock me. Well, maybe it would shock me a little bit because that'd be kind of crazy. But like it's not insane to think that could happen. The Big 12 is absolutely insane this year, and like part of me wants to say like it's even better than what the SEC was last year, but the SEC had like 14 teams get in or something. I don't think the Big 12's getting that, but nonetheless, it was an awesome tournament. Arizona won tonight against Houston in a classic. It was another great game. These two just deliver 79-74. Houston almost made a comeback late, and it was awesome. But the thing that was standing out to me during the game, because I had a friend of mine text me and say, like, who's your pick right now, as of right now, before the brackets come out, all this stuff, you haven't seen anything, who's your pick? I said, it's Arizona. And he said, why? Because not that I was ever hesitant on him, but I would always be like, well, it's Tommy Lloyd, and it's like, there's all this, like, hesitancy. But if you look at those top teams, like what I said about Michigan and LJ Kaysen, they look completely different without him. Like, I didn't think it was going to happen. Florida, like I've mentioned, I just don't necessarily trust. Duke is without 2 starters. Now, Gamba should be back. I don't really know the status of Caleb Foster. Hopefully he'll be back because you never want to see a team have to limp in. And unfortunately, a few teams are having to do that. But Arizona's not going through anything. Like, yeah, Coapete had to miss some games. Dwayne Aristode had to miss some games. Like, that was all throughout the season. They're healthy right now. Like, they've had guys that have had to leave during the tournament, whatever. That tournament's over. Done with it, gone, getting ready for the main one. So, Arizona is probably my pick, just as of right now. Gut instinct, they probably are. Now, during this game, seeing JoJo Tugler absolutely ball, lose his mind, that was a lot of fun. I'll be honest, that was a lot of fun. But that has to be JoJo Tugler's got to get 20 with it being like a blowout. In a way, like your guards also have to bring it. Milo Suzanne has never once this year been exactly what I thought he was going to be. I thought he was going to take a huge step up, and unfortunately, that's not been the case. And Emmanuel Sharp, it felt like early he was going to get it going. Like he had like a crazy falling over 3 or whatever, and then he finished with 10, and then Kingston Flemings has 8. These guys could just never get it going, and that's credit to Arizona. Defensively, they made everything extremely, extremely challenging. And it felt like they were just mentally in Houston's head for a lot of the game, but they made some threes and stuff late. And I thought Mercy Miller was awesome throughout. He was finishing at the rim, hit a couple threes. I thought he was incredible off the bench. And that's the thing. Also, Houston's one of those teams in the Big 12 where I'm like, would it shock me if they made a crazy run? No, and they're the 5 seed in the conference. I could see them mess around and be in the championship game again, and I hope that's the case because I love this Houston team. But it's just it's the difference between these two. Like both these teams rely on freshmen quite a bit. Like Kingston Flemings and Chris Sinak both starting, and then on the other side of things, you've got 3 freshmen starting with Burries, Pete, and Karchenkov. So it's just completely different. Like the freshman difference between these, like Kingston Flemings is kind of he was insane for a while, and then felt like he came down to earth, and then people started to like call him overrated or whatever, and then he kind of came back, but then he wasn't good in this one. So I don't know, but like if you look at the freshmen on the other side compared, because if you look at Sinek and Flemings, they combined for 13 points, and just not a great game overall. On the other side, you got Karchenkov who could guard freaking Usain Bolt, just running around. He had 12 points offensively. Koa Pete, 21 points. Braden Burries, 21 points. And Koa Pete was playing through some foul trouble. Like that's what's wild about this freshman group for Arizona, and I never would have thought it, but they also have the depth. That's what's crazy. Like credit to JoJo Tugler, he was doing his thing, but like I felt so bad for him at times because he'd have like some crazy finish or whatever. He'd have to jog down and play like a well rested Toby Awaka, and it was like, okay, gosh, dude, like what the heck is he supposed to do? And then like I mentioned, Anthony Del Orso against Iowa State, balling, losing his mind. And then he didn't in this one. He also forced a terrible shot as soon as he got in. So I was like, I don't think he'll get in the flow of things. But the thing is like just who they have to bring in. They do so many good things. They have the depth. They have the star power. They don't have to shoot it a lot. That's been the thing the entire year. So like they shot it 13 times. They hit 6 of them. Like if that's all they got to do, that's fine because they have the length and the athleticism to reject anything that comes to the rim and also be able to finish anything that comes to the rim. So the Big 12 tournament was as advertised. It was awesome. Enjoyed every single second of it. That was a ton of fun watching that one. And yeah, congrats to Arizona. That's a good run, winning the regular season and winning the conference tournament. That was awesome to see. Moving on to the ACC. Let me look at this bracket and see if there's anything. I guess the notable ones would be that Louisville won an awesome game against SMU, and SMU's kind of on the bubble, so it's a very important finish. Then Louisville played Miami for the second time in like a week because I think they played them last Saturday. Miami got this one, though. They won this one and then got absolutely drummed by Virginia. So that was the one where I was like, okay, Virginia might be disrespected on how good they actually are. Because this was one that I had my eyes on, but I wasn't absolutely dialed, so I don't know what they were doing in this one to be able to disrupt Miami like crazy. But then you see Virginia, and I was like, well, maybe they are going to make a run. Maybe this is a ACC that's going to have a few teams make a run. Because I've talked about Louisville, and if SMU gets in, it's not going to shock me because of those backcourts. So we knew Duke was crazy, but Florida State gave them the entire run. And honestly, I will say credit to, I mean, Luke Locks and really that entire Florida State staff for not calling a timeout and not wanting to do that. I think that's the best thing to do there. Like, if you call a timeout, lets them get their defense set up. And this is a Duke team that you don't want to like have to play against a set defense. Like, you don't want to play this Duke team when they're getting set up. So you're in this kind of scramble drill mode. Maybe a 3 is not the best case scenario right there because you're only down 1 and Cam Boozer gets blocked and you got all this time. Maybe you should try to get to the rim and just throw something up. But great game. They battled, and it's only year 1 for Luke. So I'm excited to see what that future looks like. It was awesome. Clemson beats North Carolina in a fun game. And then Clemson plays Duke. Duke essentially throttled them. Only won by 12, but it felt like Duke kind of got their swagger back. There was like a long drought that popped up. It was crazy. Clemson was just like couldn't do anything. So then you get to the championship. Virginia versus Duke. In this game, in a loss, I think like moral victories don't exist when you have national championships. That's like kind of always my mindset, but as close to a moral victory as you could get, I think, is this one. Like this was like genuinely extremely close to winning a ball game. There were maybe a couple plays late that you wish could have gone a different way or something, but like Virginia gave them all they could handle, 74-70, in an incredible game. And now on the Duke side of things, actually I'll talk Virginia first. Virginia didn't shoot it great. They shot it all right. They're going to shoot better than that. They made everything extremely difficult. And one man that I'm very familiar with as a Kentucky fan, Ugonna Onyenso, 9 blocks. And it felt like this is the first time that you've seen Cam Boozer kind of like be in a mode where he's got to figure something else out. Like, the thing with Cam Boozer all year is like, all right, his worst game is going to be like 18-8 because he's just going to be able to like back down somebody, and even if they're taller than him, he's going to be able to outsmart them, and he's going to get them in the air, and he's going to get to the line. They're going to be in foul trouble. They're going to get like what? That wasn't the case. Like, Ugo had 1 foul, 9 blocks. He made Cam Boozer have to figure things out. They kind of spaced things out, and Cam Boozer played more on the outside and stuff. He didn't have a great game. He started to try to run through Ugo's chest because, I mean, he is stronger than him, but then Ugo was blocking those. But credit to him. I said this when it happened. For an 18-year-old to know on that final possession to get that rip through or whatever, go to the rim. I can't remember if it was blocked or if it was just like the hit under the rim or whatever, but he gets it back. An 18-year-old freshman, you would think at that time is like, all right, well, I got to go like back into his chest and try to finish this. But time is the most valuable thing at this point. You're up 1. I think it was 1. Maybe it was 2. I don't remember how it was. But his immediate thought, there wasn't an ounce of his brain that was like, all right, I got to go back up with this. He grabbed that board, and he knew it hit the rim, and he was like, all right, well, now the shot clock is off because we're down past that, whatever. He kicks it out immediately, and they swing it over to Slim, best free throw shooter on the team, and they get it to him, and it's kind of curtains from there. So he still figured it out. That's the thing. But the story of this game is his brother, Caden Boozer, with the absence of Caleb Foster, him stepping in there and giving 16 points, 14 of them being in the first half, and then 2 in the second half being off of, I don't remember who shot the 3. It was probably Slim. But Isaiah Evans shoots a 3 or whatever, and he gets a huge putback late at crucial times. He had 14 in the first half, kind of shut down a little bit in the second half. But then he gets that one, a big-time one. And he did a lot of really good things all night. Like, he's just super, super aware of everything. Like, there was the one where the ball is loose, and then Evans, like, tips it up court or whatever, and he's just perfectly right there under. It was like they've practiced it. They're like, all right, well, loose ball, why don't you just tip it up this way, and I'll just be right here. Like, for a guy that, like, is hoisted into minutes where this dude played 40 minutes, Caden Boozer did. 40 minutes, 16, 5, 4, and only 2 turnovers. That's absolutely incredible. That is incredible. And honestly, one of the turnovers was a miscommunication that went to, like, I want to say it was like I don't know if it was supposed to be a Spain action or whatever it was, but Cam Boozer went and set the screen, whatever, he came off of it, and it was like Cam and Isaiah both popped, and I think they both thought the other person was getting the ball, and it went, like, in between them went to half court, whatever. Like, that was one of his 2 turnovers. Unbelievable game. Like, that Caden Boozer can be the point guard of a national championship winning team. And maybe Caleb Foster ends up making it back by then. And then maybe at that point, Caden's a starter and Caleb comes off the bench and gives minutes for him. I don't know. But gosh, dude, that Caden Boozer right there, because there wasn't a whole lot else going right. Like Isaiah Evans, it took him a minute to get going. He finished with 20. Like, he figured it out. Like, he was hitting, like, dang near no-dip threes and stuff. It was crazy. But Malik Brown, he was solid. I mean, he was fighting tonight. It was one of those things where you saw Malik Brown do his thing on the hustle side of things. But, like, Cam Boozer didn't have his best game. Dame Sarr didn't have his best game. Nick Kamenya checked in. I thought he played well. But, like, where your short bodies and that type of Caden Boozer shows up, unbelievable. Absolutely unbelievable. Man, Cam Boozer having 13, 8, and 8 is absolutely silly. But Caden Boozer, I mean, that's the hats off guy of the evening. Like, that one, he is the reason that they were able to do this. And it was awesome. And yeah, on the other side of things, Virginia, I mean, you were right there. Like, that's a tough one. Yeah, Malik Thomas played well. Sam Lewis played well. I thought Dallin Hall gave some really good minutes. You've got a squad that can make a run. And in year 1 of Ryan Odom, I don't know if that was expected by some Virginia fans, which also shout out to Virginia. Great crowd at this game. It was, you could hear when Virginia would make runs, you could hear it. So making their way to Charlotte was very, very awesome. It was cool to see. So, but Virginia, this is one of those, like, head held high. I don't think I need to be the guy to tell you that. Like, there was times where it felt like it was like a Duke kill shots coming in here in a second. And they weathered the storm. And that was one of the things, I think it was like a couple minutes till half. It was like, oh no, here's Duke. They're going to do the thing where they just run away with this one and it's not going to be close. And Virginia, like I said, weathered the storm and figured some things out. So, really, really cool stuff. What a week of basketball. And that was kind of the one that caps it off for Saturday night. And then we'll have the Sunday games as well. But what a week. What a week. All these tournaments were awesome. they all delivered. Some of them had Cinderella runs, and some of them were a little bit chalky, but that's what we're here for. That's what this sport's about. So, very, very excited for tomorrow. I'm trying to think if there's anything else on this one. Officially Selection Sunday. I can't believe we're at this point. It feels like we just started. It feels like I just watched Mr. Arizona, Cola Pete, go up against Florida and dominate them night one. And we're here. Yeah, I guess that'll do it for this one. As a UK fan, very worried. I'll put it that way. I think we're certainly a 7, but at least we're off the 8-9 line. So maybe there's a second weekend in there. I'm very hopeful of that. So thank you for tuning in. I will be back soon. Just know that I'll be doing something bracket wise by the time you see me next. So thank you for tuning in. Make sure to like, comment, subscribe if you like college basketball. This is definitely the spot that you need to subscribe to and comment too. I always enjoy commenting back and forth with people and conversating in that way. Make sure to follow all the social medias. I post the most over on all those. Those are what I post daily on. It's just the Jump Sports on everything. It's the Jump Sports _ on Instagram. You can find me on any of those. I post nearly every day on all those accounts. So thank you for tuning in. I appreciate all your support. Peace.